Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees to order on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. I will call the roll. Asherle?
Here.
Engelmann? Here. Sweattick here. I'd like to ask everyone to join in honoring our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start this evening, I'd like to read the following statement into the record. At our last meeting, a resident took it upon herself to read 2 letters of resignation from fire department employees into the record. This was apparently done for no other reason than to attempt to disparage my character personally and the character of this board. I feel the need to respond since I had never seen the firefighter's letter, nor had ever had a conversation with him regarding any problems. I had never had a conversation regarding any issues of contention with that firefighter, with a former administrative assistant, with former Chief Justin Grossenbaugh, or with any of the other firefighter personnel regarding any issues of contention in the department, or with me personally before the recent meeting on September 26th of last week. The first that this board heard of any personnel issues occurred after former Chief Justin Grossenbaugh tendered his resignation at a township meeting. Mr. Grossenbaugh had informed each of the trustees minutes before that meeting that he had accepted an acting chief position at another fire department. A work session was held last Thursday, September 26, where Trustee Engelmann and myself met with Acting Chief Barrett and the several senior firefighters. After listening to their concerns, it became readily apparent that the fire staff was not being fully informed by the former chief of information relative to any of their concerns, nor of the reasoning behind actions taken at the trustee level. It was explained very clearly to them that the role of a trustee is to represent the community and to do everything in the community's best interest, and that the role of a leader includes the need to have difficult conversations when the best interest of the community is at risk. The board listened to all their concerns and addressed each of them. The fire personnel who were there found the explanations to be reasonable and had no objection to the accuracy of the information that was provided to them. I strongly urge our residents to review the video of that follow-up meeting that was held on September 26 in its entirety. I believe it would be very informative and beneficial to those who have an interest in this matter. Thank you for your time on that. Now we will move into Acting Chief. Would you like to take care of these gentlemen?
Absolutely. First thing I have is a motion to hire full-time firefighters Anthony McCarrick and Andrew Toth effective October 13th, 2024 at a rate of $20.67 an hour with a 12-month probation period.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
It's a very big day for Hinckley
First full-time firefighter.
firefighters. Two of them.
Did you list both?
Yes,
Okay,
Both.
2. Who's gonna be first?
we have to vote.
Rock, paper, scissors.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Andrew.
We're gonna do it. Yeah. Yes, that's why. So careful. We'll go right through the ceiling.
Yep.
Like there.
That's why I'm not allowed to move it anymore.
And family, you can get all the pictures that you want. And I'll get out of the way so you guys can get pictures of them all out. All right. Right hand, or repeat after me. I, Andrew Toth,
I, Andrew Toth,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of a full-time firefighter
of a full-time firefighter
for Hinckley Township
for Hinckley Township
in Medina County,
in Medina County,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my service in the fire department.
during my service in the fire department.
Congratulations.
Beautiful fiance Dusty.
All right.
Whatever.
So not Jim Asherle.
Make it hurt.
Especially not the acceptable.
Wow.
She's like, it's bigger than I realized. That's it? No pictures? You guys are eating. Okay. Okay. Anthony, come on down. I, Anthony McCarrick,
I, Anthony McCarrick,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of a full-time firefighter
of a full-time firefighter
for Hinckley Township in Medina County,
for Hinkley Township in Medina County,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my service in the fire department.
during my service in the fire department.
Congratulations, young man. Thank you. Thank you.
So, you ready for it?
She's like, I'm a nurse. I can leave. Do you want to, make a motion to hire Christian when we already have our flags up here? I mean, the stage is set, so.
Got a big audience.
So my next motion is to hire Christian Ford as a cadet at the rate of $15.15 per hour. Christian is in medic school. He just recently went through our process and he's ready to go and become a cadet with us.
I hear he comes from a long line of first responders. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Christian, come on up.
I, Christian Ford,
I, Christian Ford,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of a volunteer fireman for Hinckley Township
of a volunteer fireman for Hinkley Township
in Medina County, State of Ohio,
in Medina County, State of Ohio,
during my service in the fire department.
during my service in the fire department.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Kristen.
I know. You know, my big job is gonna fly out
Yes.
right through the ceiling tiles. No, I don't want.
Oh,
to-
came out this year.
No. There they all go.
There's cake at the station.
Here's cake.
There's cake.
How many police are on duty tonight?
Hmm?
How many police are on duty tonight?
Shift change.
I said, how many police are on duty tonight?
Yeah, just two.
Oh, Kevin, I didn't even see you back there.
He was hiding in the group in the kitchen.
I think if we have free donut night, these people will stay.
It's like Donut Sunday at church. I mean, it's always the most well-attended.
Oh, yeah.
First I will take care of, fiscal officer motions. I will move for a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Second.
Second by Asherle. Call the roll. Asherle?
Yes.
Engelmann?
Yes.
Sweattick, yes. Move for a resolution to reallocate $2,500 from 2031-820-820-0000 principal payments notes with $500 to 2031-110-230-0000 workman's compensation and $2,000 to 2031-11-314-0000 tax collection fees.
Second.
Seconded by Asherle. I will call the roll. Asherle.
Yes.
Engelmann.
Yes.
Sweattick, yes. Finally, move to enter into a 5-year contract with Charles E. Harris to prepare township financial notes in accordance with the term of the contract, amounts not to exceed $650 for 2024, $725 for 2025, $800 for 2026, $875 for 2027, and $950 for 2028.
Second.
Second by Asherle. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I will move to pay the bills in the amount of $26,228.17.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Mr. Schroll,
On to me.
Sergeant, please.
First, I'd like to congratulate the fire department on moving forward with your first-time firefighters in the community. It seems not that long ago that 15 volunteers would show up on calls, so the department has come a long way, so congratulations.
Thank you.
You're showing your age there.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. The first thing on our agenda, my agenda, is for the purpose of transparency regarding flock cameras. Some quick movements were made last week, and I'll explain that momentarily. With the flock camera license plate reader system that we have been interested in, and I have been in communication with since September of 2023. Back on January 30th of 24, a representative from Flock came into the presentation for the trustees. That is on YouTube recording. I suggest or recommend everyone to go back and watch that. I asked one of the reps to be here tonight. None of them were local or able to make it in town, so I will do my best in answering any questions. But so again, this has been an interest and a tool for the department that we have had access to for a couple of years. The company's policy, we had free access to the data system for surrounding and their network of cameras. The end of last year, they notified us that their company policy was changing, that they were ceasing access to anybody who was not a paid customer. Not only a paid customer, but a minimum of 15,000 per year paid customer. So basically at 3,000 per camera, if it was 4 or less, you can only access your own cameras. 5 or more, you had access throughout their entire network that we were previously accustomed to. We're intending to move forward with that and had a lot of discussion, including that meeting earlier in the year. Some other things came about. We had some major cruiser repairs, the Axon body camera and cruiser system was more important, so this kind of took the back burner. Flock has continually reached out to me and I've kind of pushed them off. More recently, had a discussion with Chief Centner, and now that we're getting towards the end of the year, we're intending to wait until the next budget year. However, last Tuesday, I received an email from Flock that I did not observe until Thursday morning with basically an offer that we couldn't really refuse. It was a $7,000 savings, which was over 30% that they were offering us. Basically, that was free installation. Our intended locations were on state routes, which is the most expensive installation because ODOT requires that Flock not use any existing infrastructure, DOT certified poles, et cetera, at a cost of almost $1,300 installation per camera. So again, that email last week, they were willing to waive the 5 cameras at the $1,250 a piece, plus the 1 additional camera that was planned on a county route at the cost of $650 for, again, a nearly $7,000 savings. Chief and I had discussion with Trustee Swedick, and the board was willing to put on a special meeting last Friday to obtain that approval. I want to be clear that I had asked them if there was any way that we could get an extension of that offer until tonight's meeting. The regional rep that I was speaking to reached out to her boss and they said no go. They needed it on their books by October 1st. This was end of their third quarter fiscal year or quarter that they were doing this promotion because they had the ability to offer that for that short time. So we did have a meeting on Friday to get approval. The big clause there was the opt-out. The other element to this was not only a $7,000 savings, but they were willing to give us essentially what equates to nearly up to 6 months until the entire system is installed and gets turned on, that we can back out of this agreement at any time. So again, I don't want the community to believe or feel that there was any, trying not to bring it before you and take questions or discuss it. So that's what we're here this evening for. To be clear on exactly what we're doing, we intend to move forward with 6 cameras with Flock safety. It's important to understand what these cameras are not. They are not surveillance cameras. We cannot access them to live feed. They're not speed cameras. They are not looking for violations. They are simply license plate readers that takes a photograph of a vehicle passing by the camera, documenting the make, the color, and the license plate. There is no link to your personal information. The proactive intent of them is it does cross that vehicle's plate through the NCIC database, which essentially will look for if that vehicle's stolen, if there's a missing person related to it, or if there's a wanted felon related to that vehicle. It still requires law enforcement intervention as far as us looking through it through our other means of finding out the personal identifiers. Those photographs, again, those are the same as any one of us can go out and take a picture of a car in a parking lot. That information is securely saved in their cloud for 30 days and then is completely purged. So again, it is a ginormous tool. Just a few numbers. The very first camera in the state of Ohio was in Menor on the Lake of November 2020. There's now thousands of them, is growing rapidly. I've got some maps here. We are actually kind of in a sense behind the ball and, just in the greater Cleveland area. You can kind of see that Hinckley Township here is kind of a whole of all these overlapping icons of all the cameras surrounding us. So I don't know if that covered it, but I wanted to give the opportunity for any further discussion, any questions, comments, concerns.
So from well, first I would say that the board was not going to enter into it without the opt-out because we want to be transparent about this project. It's important for the community to understand what it is and what it is not, as you explained fairly well. And the cutoff was yesterday though, right? So the end of the quarter for the third quarter for them
Yeah, they said they needed it basically by the end of the day, the signed contract by the end of the day, Monday.
yesterday.
Because,
Yeah, okay. So in and of that, that's why we held a special meeting to be able to take advantage of the severe discount that they were giving. Like Mike said, basically free installation, which amounted to quite a bit to the first year startup cost. With that being said, like you said, it's a simple photo. It lives in the system. It's automatically purged after 30 days. It's not accessed unless the police actively go into it, or if it recognizes that a crime it's involved in some type of criminal activity, then it will ping the police to let them know. Outside of that, it's innocuous. No one even knows it's there. There's cameras everywhere, and I've said this before, that if you don't think somebody's taking a picture of you, you're quite naive at this point. You're more at risk by having TikTok on your phone. We know that. So with
Do you know
that
what
being,
TikTok is?
I've heard the kids talking. So with that being said, when it was first presented, we talked about a scenario where it could save a life. And then we did have something. We had an abduction that occurred in Hinckley, and through the use of the camera, they were very speedily able to catch up with the individual who was involved, and nobody was hurt. And at the end of the day, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and we've got several letters from chiefs around the greater Cleveland area of recommendation on how they have used the system successfully. You can easily go on and Google flock camera. There's Channel 5, Channel 8 stories up in Menor, again, greater Cleveland area of, one off the top of my head, a kid that got ran over on his bicycle. With the use of the flock cameras, they were able to quickly identify that vehicle as a rental, which was returned 2 hours later, find out who did it, et cetera. There's an abundant amount of stories on the usefulness of them. As Trustee Swedick mentioned about a month and a half ago, we had a parent abduct their child, and quickly with the use of the flock cameras, we were able to safely get that child back to the mother. And then, other things, the most recent one, right here at Hinckley Elementary School, they had just paid to have the entire parking lot resurfaced and asphalted and striped. It just so happened that weekend, 3 muscle cars decided to use the parking lot to learn how to do burnouts and donuts. And when Mr. Carpenter came in Monday morning, the entire parking lot was covered in black tire marks. The school's camera system had a very clear photo of the 3 vehicles, 2 70s era Corvettes and a 70s era Camaro. Well, that only does us so good without license plates. Their cameras weren't that good enough to catch the license plates. So with the use of flock, we were able to identify the owner of those vehicles, made contact with him. He very quickly said, yeah, absolutely, that was me, teaching his adult children, and took full responsibility of it. And we worked to mediate between him and the school system, and he is now paying back the school. They had the company come back out to what it would cost to fix it. It was $7,000 to do another skim coat and repaint that parking lot. So, the flock cameras in that instance saved the taxpayers essentially of the Highland School District $7,000 in repairs.
I think one other important thing to realize is, and if somebody takes the time to look at that map, they're prolific in the area. We don't have any here. We were relying on access to the other cameras, which is going away. The
Yeah.
ones that we're installing will not be installed throughout the township. Basically, they're entry and exit points for the most part.
They're on our borders, correct?
Yes. So it's not like, we're putting some in Mr. Pearl's front yard and keeping an eye on where he's going. No, that's not the case. You know, that's,
Yeah, I've got a large list here. I've got a couple maps if anyone's interested in seeing it, but pretty much all of our surrounding agencies. Actually, 2 hours ago, I spoke to Lieutenant Zija with Medina Township Police Department. He informed me they just signed a 5-year contract for 5 cameras in Medina Township. Bath, Montville, Medina County Sheriff's Office, Richfield, Brecksville, Lodi, Broadview Heights, Wadsworth, Seville, North Royalton, Medina, Brunswick, and all but one community in basically the entire Cuyahoga County is covered. Medina's filling in very quickly.
all right. Would entertain, if you don't have any questions on this topic from the public?
Ongoing costs?
It's 3,000 per camera. We're looking at 6 cameras, so it's a total of 18,000 annually. And that includes, basically that covers all maintenance. They're responsible for everything. They essentially own the camera in a sense. It's more so a lease. So if the battery goes bad, if the solar panel goes bad, they will come out and replace it. There's no additional expense or maintenance charges. It is all inclusive.
Vandalism damage is covered by them as well?
Yep.
Can you come up to
Yeah,
the,
sorry.
you made it. Do you want me to ask your questions or did you? I printed them.
I did too.
Does the annual cost include, sorry, Nikki Long, 1941 Parker, does the annual cost include like database access to their, databases? I mean, or do you have to pay extra to be able to use it or get
It's,
licenses?
unlimited users for our agency, who we choose within our agency. It is because we are at that 15,000 or more threshold. It is access to their entire nationwide database and the full 30-day retention period for unlimited, whatever that equates to.
Okay, so it's like unlimited licenses for you guys to look at Hinckley cameras and then all the other data
All
that
the
they
other
have
cameras, yep,
nationwide.
Yep,
So it's only $18,000 a year and you get all of that and the camera maintenance.
correct.
Well, I don't
Okay.
think you're looking at the camera, right? You just have access to data. The camera, there's no
You-
live feed or anything.
You can't physically look at the camera,
okay.
but we can select which cameras we want to search data. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've got the one thing pulled up here.
But
Right-
it's, my point being, it's collecting data. It's not showing you.
Yes, yeah, there's no live feed.
Okay.
There's no audio, there's no video. It is literally snapping pictures of a car driving past it.
And is it only searchable by the license plate number?
So there's 2 ways. Well, there's multiple ways, actually. If we know a license plate, we can
Mhm.
search it by a license plate.
Mm-hmm.
The other instance is if, for example, the elementary school, we knew a Chevy, red Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
We can search red Chevy. Obviously, that database or the amount of images it's going to pull up is abundant.
Okay.
So then it's, incumbent on us to kind of search through that.
You can, my understanding,
Yeah.
you can put make, model, any of those parameters in.
Yeah, not
And
model.
narrow it.
That's
But
helpful.
make, sedan, coupe, convertible,
Sure.
hatchback, truck, color, and then there's a few identifiers: back rack, top rack, bumper stickers, window stickers, or toolbox. So it's kind of general, but yeah, we can search if we know a known license plate, we're looking for a vehicle, or we can use those criteria for trying to find a vehicle that we don't know the plate to.
Okay, thank you very much.
The questions that were emailed to us earlier from
Yes.
Mr. Pearl is, would a vehicle entering Bellis Road and heading east towards I-77 be captured?
It would not. Again, it's to be clear, the cameras are unidirectional. What Flock has learned and what all agencies are doing is they're doing ingress into the township. Early on was like, I wonder why, I thought maybe that they'd be leaving. And the reason for the ingress is for the proactive aspect of it. These NCIC runs for missing persons or wanted felon, whether that's some major sex offender or a armed robbery, that types of thing. As they come into the township, our officers are gonna get that notification to try to track that vehicle down and see if that person, to try to prevent crime. So for Mr. Pearl's question in that specific one, again, the locations that we have are coming into the township at the 6 that we've chosen. So that specifically, if you got onto Bellis, we're heading towards 77 out of the township, there would not be one that would capture that.
Would a vehicle entering Ledge Road at any point when traveling east towards I-77 or west towards I-71 or south toward I-271 be captured?
So I'll break that one down into 3. Entering Ledge Road at any point, if it's within the township and exiting, again, no, but we do have one planned for Ledge at 606 or 3 at 606. So if they were west of the township and coming into the township towards 77, yes. If they're already within the township and heading out, no. West towards I-71 from Ledge, no. South towards I-71, no.
And is
Wait,
the,
westbound, you're saying? Westbound, okay.
and is the proposed coverage sufficient?
My note there is that subjective. Obviously, initially going back to last fall, the initial intent was to keep what we had. That minimum was a $15,000 spending minimum to have access. So we're looking at 5 cameras at $15,000. With working with Block, not only do they have a division that reviews the layout of the township and satellite imagery and coming up what they recommend. We obviously did that on our end as well. And when we had that meeting, we were on the same page on where the ideal cameras would be placed. Obviously, if budget wasn't a factor and money was unlimited, we'd put one at every road coming in and going out, because then it would be bulletproof. But the great thing about the network of the system, and again, us kind of coming after a lot of these agencies is, you know, as each agency has ingress, your neighboring agency has ingress. So essentially you kind of have egress in a sense. So there are, Mr. Pearl, to some of your questions, I did look at the map a little further out, and there are some, to some of your questions, a little bit further that they would eventually get captured. So yeah, as the system grows, and it's pretty large as it is, it's how we're able to access that network throughout the communities coming in and going out of.
And to start, the threshold that we chose was to be able to have access to all the other data that's out there.
Right.
It did limit us to just our own cameras. We could have put a few in, but once we get over, it was the 15,000 that amount, then you were able to get access to the remainder of the system.
And
So my next question is, are there any flock cameras on Interstate 71, 77, or 271?
on the interstate, from what I looked at the map, no, but Brunswick, for example, has 2 or 3 at the 71, 303 interchange on 303. Richfield has 1 or 2 up at 271. So I can ask this question to the rep, but I don't believe any of them are on the interstate, but at most of the interchanges, there are a lot.
I just see, I don't know how to explain this. I just see a lot of gaps in the surveillance. It seems like anybody, if there was an abduction on Ledge Road or a road going into Ledge Road or an abduction on Bellis, these cars would go to the interstate without being
There could be
identified.
but I would equate that to, this is like having extra patrol out there.
Sure,
So
can't
without,
be everywhere.
if the patrolman's on the east side of Hinckley, there's nobody watching the
Mhm.
west side, you know, so I don't think it's much different than that.
And not to interrupt you, but it's also not surveillance.
I
It
understand.
is.
I used the
So-
wrong word.
So we may have an opportunity, we might have a blind spot, let's call it a blind spot,
Sure.
right? But because so many of our surrounding communities have them, the chances are another community is going to pick you up when you're entering into another community, and we have access to that database.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And some of these examples of the past, and I want to say, if you go back to that January 30th meeting, the rep at that time explains the specifics of this situation. But there was one locally that a teenage girl had met a gentleman online, got in a car with him, and through the flock system, they were able to eventually track it and locate him in Georgia. So that was one where it was local, got on the interstate, but because of the size of the network throughout the nation, they were able to get it that far all the way down in Georgia and track them down and get her back.
Okay, those are my questions.
But yeah, I agree with you. You know, there are going to be holes, you know, unless we spend a incredible amount of money to put one in. So starting out again, it's at the main primary roads, and we'll see how it goes. He did tell me that a lot of their customers and communities after their first year do add additional cameras. So, you know, that's always an option for sure, especially with the community and the board support.
Nikki Long, Parker Road again. I was wondering that while I was sitting here is if you identify a spot where you want to, move a camera, does that cost, that $18,000 a year, include moving a camera?
So no, these are not mobile. Again, especially being on the state routes, it's going to take, for the state route locations, it's going to take 5 to 6 months for them to get the permitting
Okay.
approval through the state. They're very specific, DOT, standardized poles, et cetera.
Okay.
So those will be permanent locations. Flock does have a product for a portable one that can be deployed as needed.
Okay.
But no, these are not movable.
Okay. So if you identified an additional area, you'd have to buy another camera.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks again.
And if anyone has additional questions, I'm sure they can reach out
Absolutely.
to us. And if there's enough out there, we can have the rep come in as well.
Yep.
If we had to at a later date.
Like I said, a lot of good information that January 30th special meeting where
That was a very good meeting. And I just want everybody to understand that we do have the 6 months, which was the only reason we voted like we did last week during a special meeting, is we wanted to make sure for optics, it didn't look like we were trying to rush something through.
It was a substantial savings for the township, and since we were looking most likely to enter into the contract, it made sense to go ahead and do it, but we wouldn't do it without having the opportunity to do this without that opt-out.
Moving on from there.
Yes, sir.
Only other thing, our open position, we are down by one currently from full staff. We have a gentleman in the process who is nearly finished up. And we anticipate probably swearing him in at the next meeting on October 15th. So it's moving along good. He's checking boxes. So
Very good.
that's it for the police department.
Acting chief.
All right. Next thing I have is a request to move firefighter Aiden Regic from EMT to paramedic pay at a rate of $19 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next is request to move firefighter Stephen Turnick from EMT to paramedic pay at a rate of $19 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Both of those gentlemen, they passed their National Registry paramedic last week, so they are full-fledged paramedics now, checked off, ready to work. Next, I have a request appropriations total of $12,710. This is for equipment mounting on the new tanker through Sensible Products in Ridgefield. When we were having the tanker built, we asked the manufacturer how much it would cost for them to do it in-house there, and it was going to be an additional $5,000 on top of what Sensible quoted us. So this is a $5,000 cost savings by using Sensible, which is local right up the road. They've previously mounted equipment on other apparatus for us, so we have a good history with them.
Mm-hmm. And that is something that was discussed. I think we discussed this a couple of months ago also. doing this. So some of,
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Next is request appropriations of $903.18. This is for 6 new Motorola batteries for our portable radios through BNC Communications. We're getting at the time frame now. Some of our radio batteries are getting to the end of their lifetime, so this is to replace batteries that we currently have that are getting to the end of their life, not keeping a charge. So
so moved.
Second.
Discussion? How many handhelds do you have? These are for handhelds?
these are for handhelds. The top of my head, I think we have approximately 22 handhelds.
And what's the approximate life on them?
So these batteries, what I'm seeing right now, the ones that are coming to the end of life are from 2016. So we're looking, it's been about 8 years.
Okay,
They're lithium ion batteries.
very good. All in favor?
I,
I just wanted to thank everybody that came out to our Touch Truck event this weekend. It was a little bit rainy. Not the greatest of weather, but there were still quite a few families that came out, braved the weather, enjoyed their time. I'd like to thank everybody that brought a vehicle for the kids and families to enjoy. We had construction vehicles, FBI trucks, police cars, SWAT trucks, all of our fire trucks, of course, and we had a food truck that had some pretty good pulled pork sandwiches. So,
did they?
oh yeah,
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Who got the last one?
Were there any?
I think acting chief got the last one. Yeah. Really early in the
yeah,
Tetra truck also.
Actually, technically, my daughter got the last one.
Okay, well, the gyro is pretty good. So, yeah, thank you
But-
very much to everyone, for everyone's help with that, because it was for our first time event, I
Yes.
would say it worked out, even though the weather did not.
The weather did
So.
not, but either way, we'll start looking at next year. My goal as a Browns fan is to try to do the touch truck when the Browns are playing a 4 o'clock game like they did this Sunday. Not to interrupt people's
That was
enjoyable
that's much
Sundays.
appreciated this year.
I saw some orange shirts
Yep.
at Touch Truck
Not that it was an
underneath their
enjoyable game to
slickers.
watch.
So, yeah, very good. Thank
Who
you.
would have done it earlier? You might have been seeing some tears from those orange shirts. So
Just, so the board is aware also, I sent all these gentlemen an email last night also, but, it is my recommendation, that we kind of go back to our pre-COVID meetings where, the department had stayed for the duration of the meeting. I have just seen in the last couple of months, questions come out during public comment, even though we do ask for public comment before we excuse anyone. It just happened last week that someone had a question about the ditch. And it was at the end of the meeting when everybody was gone. So, and also, just to help with the miscommunication, because a lot of times you guys leave. It's shocking to me that you don't log in and see the end of the meeting, but you missed some information. And I just found out today, some missed information was, the fire department was not made aware of the $1,500 donation from Columbia Gas going to the Firefighters Association. So I would say that's relevant information that we would
Absolutely.
want to
That's-
make sure they know.
that's huge,
So,
and we definitely appreciate that donation from Columbia Gas.
yeah, so that is my recommendation. I don't know if you both feel the same. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but we're here twice a month, so I think we should all be here for our residents for any questions that come out.
I agree.
Good meeting.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Bahari?
A couple quick items that came up today that I kind of set in front of you guys here. We started doing some of our PM trucks for some of our winter maintenance on some of these. Our Freightliner up there needs 4 drive tires. There's 2 quotes you'll see, one from North Gateway and also one from Wingfoot down there. Gateway came in quite a bit under, so I'm requesting appropriations to purchase the 4 drive tires and have them installed down there at Gateway at $1,995.56.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the second thing was, I got a call, our truck 10 was down at ESS. We had a lot of exhaust leaks, smell in the cab when our driver was in there, and they had found where the pipes underneath were rotted out, and they had went ahead and replaced them all. So just looking to get this approved. The bill came in at 33.51. They only had 3 hours worth of labor on this. So, and then it does have a head gasket leak right now. You know, we have our truck purchased right now. We're just waiting on the build. So like me and Jack kind of talked, you know, we're gonna try to just do some stop leak in it for right now. It's not really something I really would like to do, but if we can get this truck through the winter, you know, this other one is on the way. So, you know, replacing that head will be expensive if it does go, so. So try to milk it through, keep an eye on the antifreeze, you know, and see where we go from there.
Be proactive.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the only other last thing I have, I got a call from Tri-Moore. They did get those pads done at Brookshire. And they should be saw cutting Bethany, so hopefully tomorrow is the start date. They had kind of given me last week, so.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. And they'll start their saw cutting. They're still, you know, they're waiting on some basins, but Kyle just approved those over Lewis and Land, so. They're in order now and they'll be here in a matter of probably a couple weeks. So they're gonna start doing their tear out and everything else.
Very good. I've had some questions about that. I said early October, so it does not get much earlier than the
Yeah.
second. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, while we are on service. We had discussed prior about looking at OPWC grant for next year. To include Brookhaven Lane, continue the repairs that are out there. We petitioned the county engineer's office and we thought we were looking at about 100,000 and they're gonna look at 150,000 for us, so that's gonna offset the cost there greatly. So I will move the resolution authorizing Hinckley Township to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required. Whereas the State Capital Improvement Program and the Local Transportation Improvement Program both provide financial assistance to political subdivisions for capital improvements to public infrastructure. And whereas Hinckley Township is planning to make capital improvements to TH 361 Brookhaven Lane, and whereas the infrastructure improvement herein above described is considered to be a priority need for the community and as a qualified project under the OPWC programs, now therefore be it resolved by Hinckley Township, Section 1, Hinckley Township Trustee Jack Swedick is hereby authorized to apply the OPWC for funds as described above. Section 2, Hinckley Township Trustee Jack Swedick is authorized to enter into any agreements as may be necessary and appropriate for obtaining this financial assistance.
Second.
Seconded by Asherle. Discussion. Call the roll. Asherle.
Yes.
Engelmann.
Yes.
Sweattick, yes. So, Mike, that's looking at probably going through the year. Will it get on the 25 schedule? Do you know?
That's gonna be up to the trustees, or you wanna do it in 25 or you wanna wait until 26. When I spoke with Angie, they could probably do that either way. Just like the
Probably.
last one, you know, obviously they didn't get the engineering done in enough time.
Right.
So it pushed it into next year, which probably is gonna happen again. I can't say that. I don't know. I don't know what their workload looks like. I would just say, just to be safe, 26 for your budget wise, but that is totally up to you guys. We should be good either way.
Okay.
It's just a matter of how much load do you want to put on that engineer's office, so.
All right, very good. Zoning.
Got some glasses. This is, re-signed
Thank you.
2 meetings ago. The paper size was too large for tax maps. They wanted this to be resubmitted on smaller size paper.
First.
Where?
Okay, that. Okay, so you have not gone past Maple Ridge Cemetery, the slate roof has been completed. Quite nice. Copper is nice and shiny, of course, in a year from now, it'll probably be greens.
Hmm.
But we also, thanks to Lynn, were able to put a picture of it on our website. So when you are on the main page, that's one of our featured photos. So a wonderful job. So that should last us for a couple hundred years. Well past my life. Okay, so tonight there was a special, well, I shouldn't say special meeting. Metro Parks was having a meeting regarding their future plans for Hinckley Reservation. Of course, we would have liked to have been there, but we are here tonight. So I had requested that the Metro Parks attend a meeting here for the trustees. So I've scheduled a special meeting on Tuesday, October 29th at 5 p.m. And they will be here to present their draft plan update for Hinckley Reservation. So that will be an opportunity for us to hear. In the past, the Metro Parks, we've had special meetings where they have requested trustee support for grant application for the dam project. So it seemed kind of fitting that, might be nice for them to come back and personally share with us what their plans are. So wanted to put that out there and hopefully we'll have.
Thank you for emailing them.
Yeah.
With that, and we'll put that reminder on the website for the special meeting and for anyone in attendance tonight or virtually later. I encourage you to go to their website and click on the link. It's, I think, a 7-page document that really details what their future plan is, and it's definitely worth the time to read it and kind of take a look for yourself before you come to the meeting if you have any questions.
Yeah, a lot of small print, but very worthwhile reading. So it affects people that live here because it is in our backyard, so. Okay, next, back in early part of last year, there was a plat that was signed by the board and the previous zoning inspector for a combination Mount Pleasant number 3 replat. That was rejected by the county because there was a encroachment on the property line, so it really shouldn't have gone forward. You might see in your packet. So we need to rescind basically that approval from February 23rd of 2023. So if you have any questions regarding that, otherwise I'll make the motion. So I move that we rescind the 2023 Mount Pleasant number 3 replat approval due to the encroachment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, I don't know how familiar tax maps department of the county auditor's office, but every couple years they request an update as to what signatures are required for approvals on lot splits, combinations, subdivisions and things like that. And because there's been confusion in their offices between different townships and whatnot, they ask for an update. And usually they do it every 2 years because trustees change possibly. So there's an update there. And over time, the form that's been completed has changed a bit. But anyway, I'd like to try and formalize this. We have always had trustee and zoning inspector signatures. So you have in front of you some of the historical completions and the forms to look through. But I would recommend that we continue with having a minimum of 2 trustees signing any of these along with the zoning inspector. And typically the zoning inspector signs it first as they are attesting to.
So you're gonna change it from the no on only trust or,
Well, see, that was kind of confusing how that was even filled out.
oh, yeah.
Because it's like they were mutually exclusive options, but 2 of them were selected, so that
Got it. I
doesn't
see.
even make sense. So I would make a motion that we require trustee a minimum 2 and the zoning inspector signature approvals on all lot splits or combinations and plats and subdivisions, and authorize the zoning inspector to reply to the periodic tax maps questionnaire in accordance with this requirement.
Second,
Sorry, second,
She's still
yes,
reading.
I'm still reading. Second,
any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Hi, thank you. That will help.
I was
clear up-
reading it so I wouldn't have
It's okay.
any.
And lastly, about a month ago, I brought forward a proposal from BNT. I did not have copies again, to review our network, and that would be for town hall, police department, fire department, with respect to what the network looks like and what the future may hold for telephone system network. With our current system, actually, the vendor was ready to sunset it at the end of this year, which was like only 6 months' notice. And so they've extended that 1 year. So the phones that are used, though they are no longer being made, so if they break, it might be out of luck. We had some experiences after a power outage a couple of months ago. So because there's really no single source here where I've been able to put my hands on in terms of documenting really what we have in totality, it would really behoove us to get that put together so that going forward, decisions regarding telephony, even keyless entry that we're looking at, can be made with the knowledge as to how they can be connected into our environment. So I would ask to have, I would make a motion to approve $3,800 for an IT network and telephony review to be performed by Business Network Team, BMT. Funding is available in the general fund, other expenses budget line.
Second,
Second, discussion?
off topic, but maybe related, with this, I had spoken, to a couple of the people at BNT about, them taking over, like they said, they can do like the Zoom contract. Because it's very cumbersome to have to, renew that every year. Because I never have the same contact and
Right, right.
I'm always scrambling, and they said that they would be able to handle that. Is that, something that they would do with this also, or is that going to be an additional service?
So we're gonna have them identify all our current vendors in an overview of what we have. So I would expect them to include that in there
Okay,
and then come back with some recommendations on how things can be
And just to clarify, this would be township wide.
township wide,
Important.
yes.
But
It kind of has to be because they are connected for
Right.
multiple purposes. So
Okay,
absolutely.
mhm.
very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's all I have. Oh, well, I can talk about ODOT, but I can save that to the end. Unless you want me to talk about it now.
Go ahead.
So there was a ODOT stakeholder meeting this afternoon, and there were 4 stakeholders in attendance. one was sitting here and one was from Medina
Not me.
Township. And I think another one was from Granger and then one was from County EMT. And, like ODOT was kind of looking for us to make decisions on, some of their proposals with respect to, some intersections in the area, principally, we're talking about Ledge Road and Ledge and Ridge Road. I'm talking about I-271 and Ridge, the exit and entrance ramps there. Remsen, and a few other areas. And also, they had taken off the table completely any build out of the I-71, 271 interchange. But they have put back on the table to review I-271 south going to I-71 north, because after they did a cost benefit analysis, it was actually, the numbers looked very good. And, you know, the thing about it is, they have to kind of consider the other traffic analysis that goes with that, which is the, traffic on Ledge Road and Ridge Road that is then not there because they're not exiting. And the other thing that, in fact, the ranger person brought up is the Route 18 loop back, where people have to go and then they come around, and, you know, there's a lot of traffic on 18. So they are still keeping that in the loop, so to speak. And, you know, it's only because I had attended the last couple of meetings and pushed it that they kept it on the plate. So, you know, whether that will continue or not, I don't know, but there's gonna be another stakeholder meeting, because none of us want to make decisions on any of this, because like, that would be like 4 people deciding what ODOT should continue pursuing in terms of a study.
With a lot of money.
With a lot of money. And so the thing is that they are looking at 3 factors, when they kind of put together their analysis, and they're considering, safety, congestion, and, was one other factor, which is probably written down on one of your pages.
Did they,
Oh.
I had no idea that, I thought this was gonna be like the last meeting that I attended, where it was just.
In linkages, I'm sorry. Well, so that was part of the confusion, because like, one person said, gee, we thought that after the last meeting, like, everything was kind of off the table, and there wasn't like what was
Right.
happening. Well, so here's the situation, there's gonna be X dollars to be spent.
Mhm.
And, if you don't identify any projects here in Medina County or in this local district of ODOT, they'll get spent somewhere else. I mean, that's what they told us today. So it's kind of like, well, do we really need to have something looked at here? And if we do, then we need to express that to them. And so we talked about, you know, your next stakeholder meeting, which is the last stakeholder meeting before a public meeting at the beginning of next year, where they're gonna share all this information and analysis and recommendations to the public. Because, you know, it's gone from, there were a lot of no bills on these options. Like, people overwhelmingly said, yeah, maybe add a turning lane here and there, but like, you know, that's 80,000 or whatever. But you're talking about roundabouts that are $3 million, $5 million. And, you know, you talk about, okay, why are you doing this? Again, safety. Okay, so how much annual crashes are reduced if you put in a roundabout after spending $3 or $5 million? And, you know, the number might be 2. And you might say, well, that's not a very big number. And to them, it's a big number. But what does that really mean? I mean, 2 for $3 million. And how do they count crashes? I mean, so there was actually, from Medina Township, there was a trustee there who has, one of his residents has gone really delved into these numbers very detailed to see what is even counted as a crash.
Mhm.
And so it gets, you know, details always in the numbers. So safety wise, okay, that's one parameter. Congestion is another parameter. So you gotta put in roundabouts, maybe because there's congestion at the peak rush hour traffic times. But then the rest of the time, there's no issues. You know, and again, you're gonna spend millions of dollars on roundabouts. So if they're looking for the stakeholders to make the decision, we strongly recommended to Scott, that his next meeting, he needs to encourage people to come out, because this is like the real vote to have a say. And it's, if everybody says we're not gonna do anything, they're just gonna take their money and spend it elsewhere. So, you know, so it's kind of,
So when is the next meeting, did they say?
no, there's gonna be an email sent out
Okay.
to everybody. And, it's gotta be sometime between now and
The end of the
the
year.
end of the year, I think.
Okay. Because the first
I-
meeting that we all went to, there was like 12 or 15 people in there. Everybody I thought was really, they came to have their voices heard, and that's not what it was about.
There were a lot, and last meeting, there was about a dozen, and today there was 4. And, so the 4 of us are, you know, like pushing ODOT to like get more people involved, and don't, you know, like, don't look at us to decide for the world, because that's not fair. We don't represent everybody, you know,
Okay.
huh? So anyway, when that is announced, I strongly recommend that, we get as many people there as we can.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
Well, it's good to know that now is the time to take action. It was not clearly stated.
well, you know, it was not clearly stated that today was supposed to be the day for decisions.
Right.
And like, we just backed off on that. So.
Right.
Okay, that's it.
Very good.
Move for an annual renewal of WP activity log at a cost of $149, effective October 25th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? What is WP activity log? You knew I was gonna ask that.
Lynn told me about it this weekend. It
WordPress?
made perfect sense. I don't think it's
Oh,
WordPress.
WordPress.
I don't think
It's
it's
not WordPress?
WordPress.
No?
I
It's
know,
Oh.
no, because, no,
Mm.
but stay tuned. I'll like follow up.
It's from Lynn.
It's from Lynn.
It's
She
good.
explained it to me. It's an annual renewal. I mean, technically, I don't even know if we need a motion for it, but
Probably not. All in favor?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. I was looking at this before the meeting. I'm like,
I was
what does
thinking
that
it.
stand?
Well, first I thought it's WordPerfect.
Yeah.
But it's got.
Word processor, okay.
Google says WordPress.
Yeah, I would got,
Oh,
we
yeah,
use
activity log.
WordPress.
I believe it is.
We
That's what it
believe,
is, but-
we use WordPress for the
Right, for the
website.
If it's
website.
WordPress, I will come here in 2 weeks and say I was wrong. It's WordPress, but I will, maybe she's
No,
texting
no,
me.
go.
She watches sometimes.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
the whole-
Cindy, we discussed this at the last meeting, and we just wanted to make sure that you were in agreement with it. The Columbia gas donation, you had, given us that letter that the Bicentennial Committee had requested 2,000 of
Correct.
that 5,000.
Mhm.
So we were thinking, of giving the Bicentennial Committee what they asked for, the $2,000, and then giving the remaining $3,000 to the Hinckley Boy Scouts Pack 520.
Well, I know the Bicentennial Committee would be very appreciative of it, so thank you for waiting and considering that.
I said they put a lot of work into that project already and,
Yeah.
and a lot of cost at
A
the
lot of cost.
donation expense. I think
Agreed.
it was a reasonable
And
request.
it's definitely
Community
beneficial for the
centric.
Community
It's-
centric,
yes.
yep, absolutely.
I agree completely. Since you are kind of the go-between with Ben, I was just going to make sure that Jeff Schuster has your contact information so you can work that out
That's
with
fine.
him.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to make a motion.
We don't have to make a motion, right? Because we don't
We're
even
just
have,
advising him
Oh,
of
where to
the
direct the
charities
funds.
that we selected.
Yes.
Okay.
move to approve the purchase in the amount of $1,208 to Angel Printing for the printing of 3,400 copies of the Hinckley Township newsletter.
I will second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wanted to know if you would both be available, later this week or even possibly Saturday for a work session to work on, the text of that. You know, I know we already started kind of talking about topics with that, but to actually work on the text of it so we could submit it to Angel Printing.
If you wanted to do Saturday morning, I could.
You have a standing date on Saturday morning.
Yeah, plus I have been, roped into, this, pie eating contest at Farming with Friends.
You're roped into a pie
Yeah,
eating
yes.
contest. Okay.
Volunteer to take your place.
And-
You're supposed to ask what the pie, what
It's-
kind of
it's-
pie?
It's berry
Okay.
pie. Yeah.
So-
Okay.
Cindy, Mr. Schrader has generously offered to tap in. I don't understand.
I've been known to eat a pie or two, I mean.
Well, I just figured I will eat breakfast that morning, and if I lose, I won't feel real bad, but it's, so they're having like a fall fundraising events. And like opening up their location, like starting at 11.
How about
but
Monday,
the
7?
Contest is at 1.
Monday?
So one
Mhm.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
Who are you battling? Do you know?
I know there's somebody from the, police department. But.
Is it you?
No,
It is not me.
I was
To be
told,
named,
I was
to be
told there
named.
were a couple of people that were going to be voluntold.
We've got a couple voluntold.
I don't know, the.
And acting Chief Barrett.
Berry pie.
Very high.
Looking to see who my competitive eaters are in the department. We got quite a few. so
Oh, I thought it was you. You're okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
maybe.
Do you want to
Like-
look at Monday? Is Monday a possibility?
The
7th?
it like in the air.
Sunday?
I could do Sunday too, if you want.
I'm open Sunday, I mean, you know,
Sunday's actually better for me than Monday.
All right.
like Sunday afternoon. Or. what-
I know you're not watching the Browns game, so it
Oh.
doesn't matter.
They're playing?
They-
No,
do they
unfortunately.
Um. Yeah, I am open
Call
on
it.
Sunday.
Well, pick a time, Sunday.
Like 1 o'clock.
Good.
Okay.
So we'll have a special meeting.
Saturday is the Guardians playoff game though, so just have that.
It's what game?
Guardians playoff game.
Oh,
Oh. That might be more exciting than a Brown game.
Oh, definitely.
they might win.
Yeah,
Okay,
so 1 PM.
1 PM. Okay, thank you. And I sent an email. I think the only person who's sitting at this table that I sent the email to was Mike. Thinking about maybe some topics or some things that you would like to put into the newsletter. Sorry, not
Mike
Mike
1,
1,
Mike 2?
Mike 2.
All right.
And Chief Sentner, I sent an email to, an acting Chief Barrett. You and I can get together.
Mhm.
It's not gonna be a ton. I'm thinking like 300 to 500 word article, so can probably spit that out in your sleep. Okay, thank you. Single hauler trash bid, I still don't have that back. Oh, back to the newsletter. I did speak to Lynn. I think we talked about this maybe at the last meeting, so maybe you were not around for this conversation, Cindy.
Okay.
But maybe putting, I think I showed you that example of the newsletter from Sharon Township where they had a QR code on the
Yeah, I
back
think
of
I was
it.
here for that meeting.
Oh, okay.
Or it was a work
I can't
session or
remember.
Something we had.
That was probably
That's
it. That was
where-
the work session. I did talk to Lynn and she thought we were gonna have to purchase an app to
Mhm.
create the QR code, and luckily Lynn was able to figure out how to do it for free. So she has already created a QR code for us, so it's just waiting for us to say, yes, link it, and we'll do that with the newsletter. So that way, if anybody is receiving the newsletter and wants to get it electronically, they can scan that QR code. So we don't have to mail it out in the future. I did email, Principal Carpenter about doing the elementary school meeting again, like we did last year. Just as a reminder, we did a special meeting during the day and we went to the school so that the kids could kind of see how a township meeting is held, but we still had our regular meeting here in the evening. So I wanted to know if you were both open to doing that again, and if we wanted to do that Christmas photo contest again that we did last year. So best decorated house, the kids vote on it. It'll be on the cover of our website and the cover of the Hinckley Record if they agree to do it. I have to reach out to them. But are you?
I thought that was kind of cool that they, they were able to vote. I think, having that interactive, fun kind of thing made it meaningful. Sure.
Okay, he did reach back out to me and ask when we wanted to do it. And I said, because it's a special meeting, we're flexible with it. But if we wanted to stay in line with a regular Tuesday, our first meeting of December would be December 3rd. So I wanted to make sure you would both be available like 9 a.m. December 3rd.
Probably.
You can get back to me on that because we just started communication on Sunday about this. I had emailed you both a rough draft of what I was envisioning for the trustees corner for the month of November. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to read it yet, but I would ask, the first 3 paragraphs in this, I think are a little bit more relevant right now. And I would ask the board not to print the entire, not to post the entire article, but maybe the first 3 paragraphs on our social media page and website.
I have no objection.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you. And I received an email from Quentin Tift, and Mike, this is going to pertain more to you also, that the Bicentennial Committee is making a plaque, and he thought he talked to me about it, and I said no, so maybe it was you or you that he talked about making a plaque and mounting it to a boulder or a rock.
No.
Okay, so the Bicentennial Committee is going to make a plaque like they did for the Centennial, which is in Bronzers Park, and it's mounted to a boulder over there. Somebody had suggested that we could give them a big rock from Maple Hill Cemetery, the old wall.
We did talk about moving a piece of that over there, but we weren't creating anything out of it. It's,
No, we're not. No,
Oh,
we're not
okay.
doing anything
Just-
other than moving the rock.
Just so
So-
that it's not the cornerstone rock that has etched into it the cutter that created those blocks back in the
Oh,
1800s.
yeah, there's a
Which,
whole
which
stack
by
of
the
them.
way, do you have that back at the service?
Yeah, it's up the garage.
we're talking about something historical.
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Yeah, so, but you're saying
Just a
just,
piece.
just
A
a piece.
block.
Oh,
Just a piece.
that would be really neat. Yeah.
So the reason he reached out to me is he wants to know about getting one of the rocks from behind the service department over to Bronzers Park, if that would be able to be done. And I let him know I was also going to be talking to you about doing, within the next month-ish, getting the big buzzard rock boulder from up front and moving that over to Bronzers Park because we're going to be getting the new electric sign up there. So I didn't know if we could do them to coincide
So
or,
you might as well move that cornerstone one to the back here, like we talked earlier this year, maybe.
The biggest thing is gonna be weather. I don't wanna tear up the yards and have to do a bunch of restoration work right now, but yeah, it can be moved. But
Okay.
try to keep that in the back of your head. So
Because
that way we're not
otherwise-
tearing up, a
Already.
bunch of the grass
Yeah.
and stuff, so.
well, and even if you got it and put it like right at the edge of the parking lot over there, so you're not putting it, okay.
That's-
So, and that will be your call then, whenever you want to get the boulder from up front, whenever it's a good time and it's going to be dry, you can do that. I'm actually going to be meeting with the garden club president so that she can start kind of digging up some of those plants to save them so that they can go elsewhere
Yeah, that's-
once we get the new sign. Okay, thank you. I will let him know that we will work that out. And finally, I move to extend the salary of Chief of Fire to Acting Chief Sean Barrett by 1 pay period.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so I have on here the federal energy grant, and just a little background on that. I believe the feds opened it up today, which is, an advanced energy program grant. So anything that they provide grant funding to has to capture at least a 50% increase in energy efficiency. The grant minimums are 250,000, the maximum is 2.5 million, and the projects have to be reviewed, obviously, and submitted for consideration. We're working with a consultant towards applying for the grant. They're gathering the data on past energy cost, and we're evaluating the township buildings for possible projects that would apply and put us in the running for some of that money. And look at the eligibility of those products. It may be solar, it likely will be insulation in some of the buildings, things like that. They talked with us at length for a while. We had a phone conversation with them. So just to let the folks know, we're in initial stages of it. Right now, they've got all the energy bills and they're collecting the data on that. Once we decide which direction to go, they'll conduct an energy audit on the buildings in question, and we'll move forward from there. But we're in the preliminary stages. Obviously, the program just opened up today, I believe it was.
So the minimum is 250K and we would have to match it.
Matching funds, yeah. State passed House Bill 47, which has a requirement for townships with a population of 5,000 or greater must place at least one AED in a centralized area at each recreational location under its control. So this would apply to the ball fields, I think for us, and any park, probably something down in the park here, since we have control of that. I'd like you to take a look at it, Sean, see what we have that might apply to it. And then we're gonna have to figure out how to move forward with it. The state is putting together a compliance program for, not so much compliance, but you have to do a regular maintenance and a manual on how you handle procedures for making sure that the equipment's in service and whatnot. So this was just passed, so they don't even have that available yet on the Ohio Department of Health, but it's coming.
Okay.
Okay?
Did we, are the AEDs, did we discuss this, that like in the winter, they're going to be brought in because of the climate?
So the AED that was put up at Quebec is actually in a climate controlled
Okay,
device, but I still think it would be beneficial to bring them in to keep, just in case, it
Mhm.
does fail, it's not in those elements.
Mhm.
I know that's what we talked about, we discussed, but in light of this, I
Yes.
don't know what the requirements are. It may require, year-round exposure. So
Yeah.
something we have to look at.
Absolutely. So the big thing I would say with this is, and the one that went at Quebec is, meets it, but ensuring that whichever AEDs we do decide to put wherever, they are the same, AED pads that are compatible with our monitors, because then that takes away the delay in us having to remove those patches and apply different patches. We can continue to use the same patches that were placed on the patient from that AED.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that further. Just wanted to mention that an individual reached out to us and asked about placing, we had talked about this prior, a memorial bench in Bronders Park. The nephew of the individual came out, laid a very nice pad out there with some memorial bricks and put a small bench out there, and it's out there. It looks kind of nice and nice to have. Appreciate them doing that. Last, I would say you indicated that Martha told you the minutes were amended, correct? For our September 17 meeting.
Yes, the
Okay.
spellings.
So I'll move to approve the minutes as amended for the September 17, 2024 regular trustee meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
I will abstain. It's not.
Very well.
Aye.
Aye. Anything from the public?
Good evening. John Kalis, Ridge Road. So I did come from the Metro Parks meeting, and I want to say it was a great turnout, and it was a real who's who of Hinckley and Medina County. So there were a lot of questions that were answered, and everybody was in pretty good spirit, so it was a pretty good meeting. So that went well. As I walked in, though, I did hear the tail end of the flock conversation. All I heard was the opt-out part. Could you clue me back in on that? Because I have just one or two maybe questions.
It was a lengthy.
Oh, okay. All right. So how long of a service did we sign up for, I guess?
It's an annual service to access, and it renewable each year.
Mhm.
And it involves 6 cameras
6 cameras at 3,000 apiece.
located around the borders of the township.
Okay. And what was the opt-out portion of that?
The opt-out is, we were saying that we had an opportunity they were giving us basically free installation, which was right around 7,000, somewhere in there. As opposed to, but it had to be done by the end of their third quarter, which we had to have it done by yesterday.
Mhm.
So the trustees didn't want to do that, and we held a special meeting, but we didn't want to sign it unless we could present it and have feedback from everybody and have the ability to back out of that contract. So the option to back out was written into it.
Okay. Is there any way that we can get their user agreement onto our website? The flock user agreement?
What does that mean?
Well, they have to have it. They have an agreement, right? That tells you the data that they collect and what they're gathering, right? I was just curious,
Yeah.
for people
I
to
would
kind of.
say, I would ask you to, if you have the opportunity to look at what we talked about tonight.
Okay.
If you have any, I said, if you have any additional questions, we reach out to us, or we can also have the representative come back out because we had them out once before.
Okay. And then just one more question. So when we signed into this contract with them, that is for this particular unit. If they go and they upgrade or they are able to activate some new software or AI or whatever in these cameras, do they have to come back for us and let us know, or do they kind of have carte blanche to do whatever they want?
So part of the benefit of the cost is it's all inclusive for all maintenance, repairs, upgrades, that sort of thing. So there's no additional cost to us in any situation. They have solar panels, batteries, that type of thing. So if any of that stuff goes bad or is damaged, they'll come out and replace it. So I can't answer for certain, but in the future, if they were to upgrade cameras, I would assume that potentially our next annual renewal, we would get some sort of upgrade.
And then we would let the public know that, what that upgrade was going to be, or
Sure,
what they
yeah,
were going to be.
when upgrade, I mean, maybe a higher
Resolution.
resolution or something. Feature wise, that would be completely separate. Flock does offer live video cameras. That is not what we're purchasing. Flock has audio recording cameras. That is not what we're purchasing. So these would not, the purpose of the camera would not change from an LPR unless it was a thorough discussion and a completely new contract.
Okay, I guess, yeah, that was what I was looking for.
Right.
So
Yeah, they do offer those services in other platforms, but it's not what we're obtaining.
very good. Well, thank you very much.
John, did you have a chance to watch the meeting from Friday when this was discussed?
I did not.
Okay,
I did not. I will go back and check that out.
take a look at it and feel free to email Sergeant Troll if you have any questions.
Yeah, and also check
Or
out
the trustees.
January 30th, 2024. The Flock rep was here, did a 20, 30-minute presentation, answered a lot of questions. There's actually two videos on the township's YouTube, one of the meeting, and for whatever reason, there's a separate one because he shared his screen. I recommend watching the one he shared his screen because he shows you the software and a lot of information, a lot of good information. If you have any questions after that, feel free to reach out to me.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch this meeting. I'm gonna write down all that. Very good, thank you.
Okay.
And for the knowledge of the public, WP is WordPress. I was wrong.
What would you say?
It was,
Oh, it's recorded,
What
Jack.
did- Yeah, what did you say?
It's recorded,
Okay.
Jack.
Anyone else? Mr. Schrader.
Yeah, real quick. Tom Schrader, Walden Ridge.
no, you cannot take my spot. Sorry, I thought about it.
Well, luckily, I'm a season ticket holder for the Guardians and I'll be at that playoff game, so. yeah,
I don't feel bad now.
A couple of different things. So on the cameras, the 6 month back out, you said 5 to 6 months to get permits. So I'm assuming the back out starts when permits are available.
So it's kind of.
Did I misunderstand? Okay.
Yes, so the state route cameras, they estimate, from their past experience with dealing with the permits and such
Yeah.
with ODOT is somewhere in that 4 to 6 months range. Once they get those permits, they will come and install the cameras. Basically, our contract doesn't start, we are not billed until the first camera is
Got it.
up and running
Okay.
and they confirm it is activated and ready to go.
Yeah.
At that point, we have 30 additional days.
Okay.
So we're estimating that to be about a 6 month timeframe.
Okay. I mean, I don't see a reason to back out anyhow. I'm just
Right.
curious. Yeah. Okay. What was my other question today? Oh, annexation? Has the court made a ruling yet? I tried to read, I mean, I've gone out and scoured the internet to the best of my ability. I haven't seen anything.
No.
And they never provided a timeline when they thought they were going to, right?
The wheels
We're
of-
not gonna harass them.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just thought that I missed it or
Yeah,
something.
no.
So,
Still no
Wheels
ruling.
of justice.
yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? I will move to adjourn at 8:02 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.